All the deceased appear to have suffered gunshot wounds. A semi-automatic handgun was located near the deceased adult male. Sheriff's Office investigators are currently on scene and executing a search and seizure warrant and actively investigating the incident. Sheriff's Office records show no call history for that residence. A reverse 911 call was put out in the immediate area to indicate that there was no threat to the public. Cecil County Animal Services were contacted for pets inside the residence. Due to the extensive crime scene, we requested the assistance of Maryland State Police crime scene technician to assist, and at this time we've been unable to locate the next of kin for the adult male, therefore information is still limited. An internal critical incident stress management team with the assistance of the Cecil County Department of Emergency Services and affiliated Sante Mobile Crisis Team were on scene at the Cecil County Sheriff's Office to speak with those deputies, paramedics, and dispatchers involved in the investigation. And we greatly appreciate that assistance and all the assistance and all the calls and prayers and offers from allied agencies that I've received already this morning. So with that, that's the information we have currently. Again, it's ongoing investigation, actively working a search and seizure warrant at that residence. I'll take some questions now.
What can you say, Sheriff, about a possible motive, and how are you trying to get that information?
So right now, we don't have that, and again, and unfortunately, I'm giving you what we can without next to kin being notified, so I certainly want to be careful with that. And we are actively trying to find that motive, but right now, we don't have that.
So if you know the ages of the children?
I know the grades, so we're talking about 5th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade.
Are you calling this a murder or suicide?
Not yet.
Where were the bodies in the house?
Various locations. Do we know anything more on locations?
One in the detached garage, one on the first floor, 3 on the second floor.
Can you do that in a microphone? Sure.
One individual was found in the detached garage, second individual on the first main floor, 3 individuals on the second floor.
Bedrooms?
I'm not sure.
Were the children on the second floor?
Not all children, no.
Was there a sign of struggle?
Not that I'm aware.
Was the male related to the other victims in any way?
We're not going to release that at this point.
And was the male the shooter? Can you conclusively say that?
Not at this point.
Right.
Can you talk about the weapon?
It was just it was a semi-automatic handgun. And the issue again lies with us trying to make this next of kin notification. That's where some of the hesitancy in releasing some information is.
Were there other weapons found in the home, and were there any prior concerns? You said there were no calls. Did anyone have a red flag concern or anything of that nature?
Weapons related, I'm not sure. Do we know any other weapons?
There's still an active search going on at the residence. A search and seizure warrant is being executed as we speak. So we're not aware right now if any more weapons have been located inside the residence. And there was no alert for this residence through our CAD system where the calls come through.
Do we know who made the 911 call? Was it the man from inside the house?
We assume that at this point, but we're not 100% sure as we're going forward, but it sounds to be that would be the case.
Okay.
Did anyone else call and hear the shots in the neighborhood?
Do we have any other
Outside or
calls?
inside?
Not that I'm aware.
No. There were no other calls made reference to this incident.
Is the gun legally registered, and is it registered to someone in that house?
That hasn't been determined yet.
So that schools were put on yellow alert, is that standard practice, or was there a reason you alerted the schools?
It is standard practice. Any schools that would have been in that area, as we knew, the initial call, and we know nothing other than we have a possible, scene with a homicide scene. That's just protocol.
Neighbors in the area said they believe the children were homeschooled. Are you able to say, or if you know, if that's true at all?
We're looking at that. We've made contact with Cecil County Public Schools and talked with them about it, so that appears to be the case.
Can I backtrack to the gun? Because I had 2 questions, and you just said you didn't know at this point. Was that to whether the gun was legally registered, or was that to whether the registration matched the person in the home?
A gun was discovered inside the residence. However, at this point, we will be able to confirm this at some point during the investigation. But as of right now, we can't definitively say whether or not that gun was registered and who it may have been registered to.
How far away was it from the man?
It was located nearby, I don't have an exact space, but it was nearby where the male was found.
Was his gunshot wound, did it appear to be self-inflicted?
Again, we're still withholding some of that.
And I think you talked about this in the bottom of your press release, but just, and you addressed it, what a tragic situation it is, but also for the first responders who went into that home, and how are you providing services for them after witnessing such a
Sure.
horrible situation?
And yes, and it is a horrible situation, and it's something that we are always concerned with. So CISM teams is what I referenced at the bottom of that. So we do have our own CISM team that's activated and has already started initial briefings with deputies that were first on scene. We have Department of Emergency Services CISM teams that are assisting us as well, and other agencies have called. Lieutenant Mahan, who is up here, is in charge of our CISM team, so he's been in contact, and I know we've had several offers, correct, from other agencies and nearby agencies to assist with that, because you are correct, that is a tragic thing to handle.
Interrupt, not just for the folks on the scene, but also for our dispatchers. It's very difficult for the dispatchers to be taking calls like that and not be able to do much more than talk on the phone.
What's your message to the community right now after, 5 people were found dead?
Yeah, so again, it's a horrific day, and I know everybody's prayers are appreciated. My phone hasn't stopped ringing from people concerned about this and upset about this, and again, there's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there's none of that concern. It's grief is what it is at this point. Anytime you have a loss to these levels, any loss is terrible, but a loss to this level, which is not a common thing, and certainly not a common thing here in Cecil County, it's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process. So it's my first message is safety is fine. We're not concerned with that outside of this, and then prayers for anybody involved in this who responded or may still have some involvement with this.
Any idea when the last time something of this, a crime of this magnitude happened in the community?
We did have one similar, how many years ago was that, on Ridge Road? Two years ago, where we had a similar, it wasn't as many people involved, but we had children involved with in a household where there were people who died and with gunshot wounds similar to what it looks like this may become.
Lieutenant Megan said it was 3 years, sorry.
3 years.
Did you say the ages of the adults? I know you were asked about the kids.
I don't, do you remember, do we know the ages yet? We're not releasing yet.
How many shots were there? How many shots were fired, do you know?
That's still being determined.
Did everyone have multiple gunshot wounds?
Until, we're not able to say at this time.
I will make offer. I know our county executive is with us today, Danielle Hornberger. I'm not sure if you want to say anything, or you're just here supporting
I'm
for.
just here to support our law enforcement and the community, and just here for support, and hopefully we can get through this tragedy.
Can you say, was there any final message left, or any, any video or anything that you've been able to recover at this point?
Again, they're still investigating the crime scene right now at this point, not that we're aware of. We had a phone call.
Was there any conversation that lasted in the 911 call beyond just a reporting?
I do not believe so. I believe it was pretty much informational.
Did that person sound distressed, upset? Was there any indicator on the phone?
Did not.
How long was that call?
It was very short. I know the subject hung up. We attempted to make calls back to the residents that went unanswered.
How, though, I guess upsetting is it when you just said that person who called did not sound upset or anything?
Yeah, and I think sometimes in these kind of events, that's not uncommon. It seems like almost catatonic.
When you approached the home, was there there like a breach? Was the person still alive and, you know, or?
Still investigating that side of it. We did make entry, as I said, and went inside, and yeah, there was no one, you know, they were all deceased once we made entry.
So did you guys hear any shots as you were going?
No.
Okay.
So just so I'm getting the lay of the land right, I'm sorry to kind of go back, but I believe you said deceased male in the detached garage, an adult upstairs, 2 other people upstairs, presuming kids, and then 1 kid downstairs? Is that
Female on the first floor.
female? Child?
I believe it was a female adult.
Adult. And can you go over the animals that were in the house?
1 dog and 2 cats, I believe.
Yes, 1 dog and 2 cats.
Okay, if we get further information, we will certainly release that when we have it. Thanks for coming out.